All right, you guys, welcome back to the channel, and I appreciate you guys watching. I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Tournament season is right around the corner. Things are going to start getting fired up, and I'm excited. I'm ready to get going. And as you can see, I got tackle boxes out here behind me. I got all my tackle out here. I'm going to have to be doing some organizing here and doing some inventory, seeing what I have. I've been going through my rods, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to kind of do a little series of videos. I'm going to have more coming out here soon, just about on my top baits that I like to throw most of the time, that I always have tied on no matter where I go in the country, unless I'm heading up north. Then a few things will change. But again, if you guys haven't yet, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Just click on the little link on the bottom of the screen. But anyways, we're going to dive right into it. And what I wanted to talk about today is basically my top bait for flipping, punching, any of that type of stuff where I'm fishing in pads, thick grass, around heavy cover. And I really like to throw a Magnum Rage Menace. This is a 4-inch from Strike King. I like to throw it in green pumpkin. And again, right now I got this rigged on a 7/16 ounce tungsten weight. And I like to throw tungsten just because obviously it's got a smaller profile, but it's still a heavy weight. And so if I was going to go with a smaller weight, it would be extra small. And if I'm going to a bigger weight, it's still not as big as lead. And lead is just, if I was trying to throw a 1 ounce lead weight, that thing would be massive. But with a tungsten weight, a 1 ounce lead weight is probably like, is it 30% smaller? Something, it's going to be a lot smaller. And the reason you want that little smaller profile is the fact that you're going to be able to get through that cover. It's not going to get hung up. It's going to slide in those holes and it's going to get through there. And this Magnum Rage Menace, I rigged this on a J hook when I'm flipping. And this is just I believe this is a 3/0 or a 4/0 J hook. This is a Trocar, and I've really come to like those hooks. I've tried multiple other hooks, and they all seem to do fine. But since I bought this, it's just a stout hook. I've thrown them on offset worm hooks and things like that, and I hook the fish. I get the hookup ratio still, but I feel like occasionally I would lose those fish just because the hook would bend out. It just wasn't as stout. And again, I'll rig this with the, I think I have this on 50-pound braid. I throw it on 60 as well. It just depends how thick the cover is. And then also it just depends on what I can find at the stores nowadays. But the rod I'm rigging this up on this is just a G Loomis. It's basically a 7-foot. It's a 7-foot. It's not a heavy. I guess you would say it's a medium heavy. It's still it's a fast tip. But it's got a little play to it because I don't want to have too stiff of a rod. When I feel that bite, when I flip into those pads or I'm flipping into that grass and I feel that bite, I'm not so much trying to just jack on them. It's more of I'm raising the rod into them, just a slow, steady raise, and then I lean it on them quick, but I'm not really trying to rip it and horse them out of there with like a broomstick handle, because if I do that, I am going to tear the fish's mouth and I'm probably going to lose that fish. So good setup rod, any type of 7-foot, medium, heavy, or a heavy, just depends on the brand and how stiff of the rod, but I'm not trying to go with the stiffest thing I can find when I'm flipping for these fish. Again, but the thing I like about this Rage Menace, especially the Magnum, is just that size. I mean, it acts as a lot. The profile of it basically can be a bait fish, a bluegill, a crayfish with the appendages just sitting there. When it falls through, and most of the time you're going to get bit, on the initial drop or the first couple of rod pumps. If I'm not getting bit, I'm pulling right back out and I'm just flipping to the next hole, or even that same hole. I mean, I've caught fish where I flipped to the same hole twice and I've gotten bit the second time I flipped in there. But again, this is definitely one of my favorite baits for flipping into the pads, flipping around grass. And when I'm rigging this I don't see how that's all the way through? I don't come all the way through and then Texpose it. I like to just come into the bait just enough, and I want it to be straight. See how that's all straight right there? I want it to be straight. I'm in the bait, but my hook is not out of the plastic. And what I've done is I've created a cavity there. And so when that fish does bite, and I set the hook on it, I mean, that hook, as you can see right there, it's already coming out. And so you're going to hook that fish. And having that J hook with that bigger gap between the hook and the shaft. That's going to allow, you know, fish that bulkier bait, not having the bait get hung up on the hook in the plastic, or having the hook get hung up in the plastic when you're trying to set the hook on that fish. And you're going to hook that fish. I mean, I have a pretty good landing percentage. Like, I really don't lose much. The only time I really kind of do lose them is when I get hung on those pets. And like I said, I start trying to horse that fish out and I tear its mouth, the hook comes out, and the fish is gone. So again, guys, that's my setup, 7/16 ounce head. You know, if I'm fishing heavier, thicker stuff, I'm trying to punch through. Obviously, I'm going to go to a heavier weight, heavier head. And then again, just on the size of the bait, I like my hook. You know, you can go with a bigger hook, but sometimes I don't want the hook to be too big for the bait. And that seems to be the most problems I find with baits I like to flip, is finding one that's, you know, got the right size profile, right size bait for the hook that I'm trying to throw. Because I'm not always trying to throw the biggest hook. I'm trying to be able to use the lightest weight I can to get through that cover, the smallest hook that I can to make sure that bait is presented properly. And again, that is my setup, guys. Take this around, go to the store, buy some of this stuff, check it out. You take it to your water, flip around with it. I'm telling you, it's definitely a bass getter, and the bass love it. So again, thank you, guys. Please, I appreciate all support. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Be looking out for more content coming out. I'm going to be pumping out a couple other videos with some other baits. Basically, like I said at the beginning of my video, all my top baits that I actually got them all lined up, ready to go. So again, I appreciate all the support, you guys, and I'll talk to you guys next time.